Welcome, everyone. It's so nice to see you all. Thank you for coming. So we've moved into day 8 of the retreat. We have to be careful of our mind turning outwards to the world around us. Even if you're on a working retreat, the same thing will happen. It's kind of like, oh, the retreat will be over soon. But the retreat's not over soon. The retreat's happening now. So just notice that, soften, relax, and gently bring your awareness back to what's happening now. In the reality, the retreat doesn't end. The only thing that changes is your samadhi. Samadhi, that collectedness of mind, unification of mind, needs very specific conditions. And these conditions, when you go back into daily life, especially for those on the full retreat, will change. Your samadhi will weaken. Your samadhi will collapse. And that's exactly what's meant to happen. But just as well as MIDL, just as well, so you got to put commas in the right place. Just as well, MIDL meditators have an arsenal for that. And that is we can continue to develop insight in our daily life from mindfulness of body. The retreat never ends. It's just the conditions that change between organized retreats and everything else. Today we come into a deeper topic, and I promise that in last night's Dharma talk. And this is the topic of Idapaccayata. Idapaccayata means specific conditionality. And really the highest understanding is an understanding of Idapaccayata. When you understand Idapaccayata, you understand karma. You understand that everything that you think, say, and do has a consequence. This is just how it is. We can't escape from that. And so tonight we'll look a bit deeper into Idapaccayata, and we'll also look into how to use the understanding of the laws of specific conditionality, Idapaccayata, to your advantage. Last night I quoted that verse from the Buddha that describes Idapaccayata. So listen closely to this and see if you can understand it. If you can understand this, you can understand everything in terms of insight. When this is, that is. With the arising of this comes the arising of that. When this ceases, that ceases. With the ceasing of this comes the ceasing of that. So when this is, that is. What this means is that whenever anything arises, say something comes up, say this sound, this voice comes out of my mouth. Whenever anything arises, it creates the conditions for something else to arise. So I'll say that again. Yeah. Even these words I'm saying, when they come out of my mouth are conditioning something else. Maybe it's a thought inside your head. Maybe it's an argument inside your head. Maybe it's conditioning you to go off in a daydream so you don't have to listen to this boring Dharma talk. But all of it is being conditioned by these words. There's a causal relationship there. If I didn't speak these words, then that conditioning wouldn't happen. When this is, that is. So not just when some things arise, they cause conditions, they cause other things to arise. Everything that arises creates the conditions for something else to arise. And when that arises, it automatically creates the conditions for something else to arise. And when they arise, they automatically create the conditions for something else to arise. Can you picture that? So in our meditation practice, you're beginning by learning to see anicca and anatta. So noticing that things come and go. Anicca, they arise. And anatta, they arise by themselves. You're learning to see Idapaccayata. You're learning to see when this arises, something else arises. Yeah. When you find the meditation practice uninteresting, that will create the conditions for your mind to produce a fantasy. The fantasy will create the conditions for your mind to feel desire for that fantasy. That desire will create the conditions for changes within your body. The changes in your body will create the conditions for ... So if we see that everything that arises creates conditions for something else, and that means whatever that conditions also creates conditions for something else, then we get this. We get the whole universe. When this is, that is. With the arising of this comes the arising of that. Now, what's interesting about Idapaccayata specific conditionality is it's just as accurate and precise as chemistry. That means if I get two chemicals and mix them together in exact quantities, I will get a repeatable result. Change the quantities of those chemicals, I will actually get a different chemical reaction, different result. Put in a different chemical or change the temperature or do something else, I'll get a completely different result. And these results are predictable and they're repeatable. Isn't that interesting? Like how precise chemistry is? Chemical reactions. You've been too busy just buying things in shops and looking at videos and things to see how interesting the world is. If you want to see reactions, just drive a car. Look at a battery. In electric cars, look at combustion engine. Look at electricity. Look at these reactions. Certain conditions create certain things. It's predictable, repeatable. We're going to look further into that. So what's the next part then? When this is not, that is not. When this ceases, that ceases. So when anything arises, try to picture this. Whenever anything arises, it creates the conditions for something else to come into existence. Whenever anything ceases, it creates the conditions for something else to cease. So everything that arises creates conditions not only for something to arise, but also for something to cease. And anything that ceases creates the conditions for something else to cease. Yeah. So you're feeling restless in your meditation, as in meditation skill 1. We check in and just go, how am I feeling in my body? Do I feel restless or do I feel comfortable now? Oh, I feel a bit restless. That restlessness is there due to very specific conditions. Yeah. What do we do in MIDL to settle that restlessness? We starts with an S for Stephen. Come on, Don, you know that. we soften. We soften, relax the effort in our body and our mind. When we soften, relax effort, what happens to our body? Our body relaxes. Yeah? As the restlessness ceases, the relaxation of our body grows. But as our relaxation of our body grows, it causes something else to arise. The awareness of our body increases. As the awareness of our body increases, the relaxation increases, it gives rise to pleasure within our body. If we get excited about this and try to create more pleasure and relaxation in our body, the effort causes the relaxation and the pleasure to cease. It's predictable. It's repeatable. Are we kind of getting what I'm talking about here? This is what we're learning all the time. That's why we have the hindrances and then we have the quality of samatha. You're starting to learn to see Idapaccayata. You can actually drive this. What's the specific conditions that cause dullness to arise? If you understand that, then you understand how to create the conditions for it to cease, don't you? Yeah? Mm. Starting to open up a whole new world, isn't it? When this is not, that is not. With the ceasing of this comes the ceasing of that. So everything that arises creates the conditions for something else to arise, which creates the conditions for more things to arise. And everything that ceases creates the conditions for something else to cease. And so on, which causes the conditions for something else to cease. So you get this arising, 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 but you also get a rapid ceasing, ceasing, ceasing. And let's see, what arises and ceases? I believe the Buddha asked this question. in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. I know it wasn't. It was in the Anatalakkhana Sutta. What arises and ceases in your experience? Yes, Linda? Linda said everything. Is she just making that up, or is that true? Does everything begin and end? That means constantly, depending on how fast things come and go, constantly things are arising and causing other things to arise, and things are ceasing and causing other things to cease in a continuous flow of arising and ceasing. Has anyone got any sounds around them at the moment? Yeah? Let's play with sounds. We've got the ocean very distant, and I got tinnitus, which is wonderful. Listen to the sound. Krista was talking about this today, actually. And now start to notice the ending of each segment of sound. You'll just get a tum, tum, tum. Now, listening to that sound causes your awareness of the sound to rise. And when the sound ends, your awareness of that sound also ceases. Can you see that? So the way that we find Idapaccayata specific conditionality is by learning to observe anicca, dukkha, and anatta. So first learning to notice how thoughts come and go, sounds come and go, different experiences in your body come and go. Just noticing that general coming and going of things, yeah? You'll start to understand it. You'll start to see it. By observing how things come and go by themselves, you start to notice that this coming and going, yeah, is not under your control. That the whole universe is unfolding. That anicca and anatta is just the unfolding of life itself. We could say that impermanence and nature is something terrible. You know, because of that I'm aging, things are changing. But if we really look at it, and nature is life itself, if there wasn't a nature, if there wasn't impermanence, there couldn't be life. You need a nature for plants to grow and produce fruit, and Idapaccayata. You need that conditionality and that change of a nature for there to be rain and for sun and for wind to spread the seeds, for your cells to change, and some of us for the hair to grow. Right, Don? Yeah. But if we look at it that way, we see this flow of change isn't fearful at all. It's actually quite beautiful. This flow of change that we're part of now, that we're seeing, is the unfolding of the universe that's been happening for billions of years or however long. Who knows? When did it begin? We're just witnessing part of that unfolding. So it's not scary at all. We're actually part of it. One day for me, this whole body will fall back into the earth and be recycled and it will turn into something else. What do you want to come? Do you want to come back as a Mercedes-Benz car? Or what do you want to come back as? Your body will get recycled into something. The whole universe is just recycling everything. Nothing's wasted. So how we look at things completely changes whether they're fearful or whether they're beautiful. Isn't it nice to see change? Yeah. Mm. And in understanding this flow of change and understanding conditionality, we can start to understand how things work, how they work within our mind and within our body. One thing that we can actually start to understand, for example, is how to create the conditions for spiritual Vedana to arise. That's an understanding of Idapaccayata. So we did talk about worldly Vedana and spiritual Vedana. Remember that? So there's worldly pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling. And so worldly pleasant feeling, we get them by when the mind goes out and grabs onto some experience, it clings to it. Yeah. And how do we access spiritual Vedana, spiritual pleasant feeling? Can anyone remember? Yeah, that's right. Whenever you let go. Have you been able to notice that? So whenever you relax and let go, there's a nice feeling available there. Now, what I found with this, with learning to feel spiritual Vedana, is I noticed that my mind didn't naturally notice it. It was kind of like it was speaking a foreign language. What do you mean pleasure in in meditation? What are you talking about? Yeah. But as I started to look into it and just really started first to look into what it meant to just enjoy just relaxing, enjoy doing nothing, I started to notice that there's something nice about that. Nice just about relaxing. Something nice about just allowing things to be as they are, not having to do a lot. Yeah. And so what I did was I kept exposing my mind to that, just that simple enjoyment of just a little bit of relaxation. And my mind didn't recognize it. Relaxation was something that I was still trying to do. I was trying to do it, and trying to relax created the wrong conditions. But once I learned there wasn't a lot that I had to do and I got out of the way, and it was more about just withdrawing energy from my mind, withdrawing energy from that desire to do, to achieve, to get, then the meditation become more enjoyable. And the conditions for spiritual Vedana started to be created and it came up. Yeah. And my mind started to learn a new language. It learned a language of letting go And its perception of that language was that it was pleasurable, that it felt nice. But at first it was like hearing another language. You just hear sound, but you don't hear words. So it literally is a perception that we have to train, yeah, to do that. It'll come to everyone. You just got to be persistent with this. Yeah. So the first thing that I'd like us to look at in understanding Idapaccayata, we'll just do it in simple ways today, is we're going to create the conditions for metta, yeah, loving kindness. We're going to create the conditions for gratitude, for compassion, all these wholesome qualities. And we're using our understanding of Idapaccayata to do this. The condition that we need to create isn't repeating words, isn't trying to generate that wholesome feeling. It's actually spiritual Vedana, spiritual pleasant Vedana. Spiritual pleasant Vedana becomes the foundation for all these wholesome qualities that makes them easy to develop. Because we're creating the right conditions rather than, for some people, repeating words might work, but for others, it's just repeating words. It's not creating the right conditions. So let's just create the conditions now. I'd just like you to just allow your eyelids to gently close over to relax. And it's a matter of just feeling the relaxation of your eyelids. Just letting your forehead smooth out. Allowing the relaxation to come to your forehead. Allowing that relaxation to come to your cheeks. And your jaw open slightly. Allowing that relaxation to flow down your neck into your shoulders. Shoulders become heavy. Releasing your arms, your hands, your fingers. Particularly let your hands relax each finger. We're creating the conditions here. Release your belly. Releasing your legs, your hips, your feet. Creating the conditions of relaxation and comfort in your body. Just let a few slow breaths out through your nose and relax your mind. With a slow breath out through the nose, you might feel the frontal lobes of your brain relax, release. Notice as we relax in this way, we created the conditions for heaviness in our body to arise. And the conditions for awareness of our body to increase a presence. Add another condition. From your heart, gently smile and bring that smile to your face, smiling with your eyes. Adding another condition is relaxing, letting go. Creating the conditions for meditative joy to arise. The joy, the happiness of relaxing, of letting go. Enjoying the spiritual Vedana, the nice feeling of relaxing and letting go. Allow it to uplift your mind. You don't have to do anything at all, just rest in it and allow the conditions to take care of themselves. Now, from this foundation, allow gratitude to wrap around that spiritual Vedana, wrap around that meditative joy. Gratitude for this opportunity. Gratitude for this community. Can you notice that this spiritual Vedana, meditative joy, is a condition for the gratitude to grow? It grows easy and spreads for your heart, for your mind. Now I'd like you to swap to metta, to loving kindness. Sending loving kindness to this community, not as a thought, but as a held wish within your heart. A wish that everyone is well. Can you notice the conditions change and the feeling going from gratitude to loving kindness and caring? Everyone has shared so openly during this retreat. Turn your heart towards compassion, empathy and compassion for the suffering of others. Notice as the meditative joy and the spiritual Vedana are the foundation for compassion. Within your awareness, your heart opens. As an insight meditator, you understand what it's like to suffer. You can feel for the suffering of others. You can care. Now change the conditions. Soften your interest in the pleasant spiritual Vedana. Soften your interest in any Vedana in the world. And allow your mind and heart to enter equanimity. Equanimity that rests on a bed of meditative joy. Just receiving that anicca, that flow of life, allowing everything to come, to go. Now play with swapping the kusala wholesome qualities, resting them on the bed of joy, allowing spiritual Vedana to re-arise. And allow them to grow by expanding your awareness beyond your body. Expanding your loving kindness or expanding your gratitude. All this is possible by understanding the conditions that give rise to certain things. Now, I'd like you to try really hard to send loving kindness or to be grateful. Try really hard and focus your attention in on it. Can you notice the spiritual Vedana and meditative joy start to fade? Can you notice the conditions change? Yeah, isn't that interesting? As soon as we throw effort in there, it's kind of like throwing oil into soapy water. The oil just go, the soap just soapy water, or the bubbles on the bubble bath just go. I know it's bubbles and you put soap in there, isn't it? Put soap in the bubble bath and the bubbles go. Is that right? Detergent. Have one detergent in the bubble bath. I don't know why you're putting detergent in the bubble bath. In the bubble bath. Soap in the bubble bath. Yeah, it dissolves. There you go. But see the change in the conditions there. You're welcome to bring up the spiritual Vedana again if you want, but you're going to have to let go, relax the effort. Relax back the effort. Enjoy the letting go. Create the conditions. Now you can bring up metta or gratitude. What if I told you that this mess of a mind that you've been working with works on very clear, specific, precise laws? Totally repeatable. It's just we just don't know what we're doing. We keep creating for in well-meaning, like we really mean well by trying hard, by striving, by doing, achieving, trying to grab. We really mean well. It works well in the world, but we keep changing the conditions when this is, that is, when this is not, that is not. With the arising of this comes the arising of that. With the ceasing of this comes the ceasing of that. That's what's going on. MIDL is designed to help us see that by pairing a hindrance with a quality of samatha to map out mindfulness of breathing. When you understand that, you know how to play the game. You know how to change the conditions so the akusala, the unwholesome, the unskillful, become weak. And you know how to change the conditions or create the conditions so the kusala, the wholesome, the skillful, becomes strong. Bhavana, not meditation, bhavana, cultivation. We're gardeners. We're gardening the heart, the mind. The question is, do you have a green thumb? Or do your plants just keep dying on you all the time? Hmm. The next part of the practice here, we just want to approach with caution. I'm sharing this part of the practice because there's a lot of meditators here, because it is a 9-day retreat. A lot of meditators here who are up to this stage in their practice. There's others of us that are still learning earlier stages. We're learning to relax. We're learning to find enjoyment in our meditation. Yeah. And I share this with caution. And so I let everybody know, please use your own discretion with doing this practice. Okay. Everyone promising me? Damien's not sure. Everyone promising me. Promise me. Okay. What we're going to do, or what not what we're going to do, what some of us will do, and the others, please, if you're not confident in yourself, do not do this. Yeah. But what we're going to do is we're going to do some deconditioning. So we've been looking through the retreat at the Satipatthanas. We've got Kaya, the elemental qualities of our body. We've got Vedana, the pleasant and unpleasant feeling, spiritual and worldly and spiritual. And then we have Chitta, the state of our mind. Remember the state of awareness, the coloring of awareness for which we see the world through. And we even saw that thinking isn't of the mind. Thinking is our senses. The mind stimulates our senses. That was so interesting. So I'm going to do some deconditioning, and we're going to, because it's a retreat setting and because it's not a controlled environment, we're going to start with very easy things. We're just going to do very easy ones. We won't do difficult ones. Yeah. If you decide that you would like to do difficult emotions and memories, what I recommend is contact me and we can get a group of meditators who are at that stage of their practice and we can do it together in a very controlled sort of environment. In this environment here, all I can see is myself on the screen and a few other people. I can't monitor what's going on. Yeah. But this is an important teaching in MIDL. Is that enough warning? Have I given enough warning? Fantastic. Okay. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to start off by seeing how memories carry Vedana. So this first one is safe. Everybody can join in on this first one, but use your own discretion on the second one. The first one, we're going to bring up a pleasant memory. So a pleasant or a happy memory, a good memory we had in our life. The second one, we're going to bring up an unpleasant memory. Yeah. And this is where I say with caution, when you bring up an unpleasant memory, don't pick the worst, most painful, traumatic memory you've ever had in your life. Yeah. We're going to start with something that's just very, very mild. And when you go home after the retreat, I don't want you to go, okay, Steve taught me this technique. I'm going to bring up the most traumatic memory I've got. Don't do it. Tempting as it is, don't do it. Contact me and we'll get a group together and we can do it together in a gentle, controlled way. Yeah. That's just a warning. I know there's meditators in this retreat that are at the level where they can do that. Yeah, particularly anyone who's Sotapanna on can do this quite safely. Yeah. Before that, meditators can still do it if they got the samadhi. You just got to be very, very careful. Yeah, so not the worst one. Maybe just when you went to a restaurant and the meal wasn't quite as good as you wanted it to be. Okay, let's start off. So we start off and we just relax. And you can take a few softening breaths to relax. And we're going to be making some observations here because we want to see how memories carry Vedana. This is so, so important, a teaching in Idapaccayata. Memories create the conditions for Vedana. Now, I can remember a memory of when I was a teenager and I was on holidays, and it was a summer holiday down the beach, and it was just a really nice holiday. It was relaxing. There was all family there, lots of kids. We're all running around, we're mucking around, and we had a really good time. And it's a really nice memory. So just bring that sort of memory to mind if you have one. If you don't have one, that's okay. But if you do have one, bring up a good, happy memory. Maybe it's a family Christmas meal together. Got a wonderful one of where I met Linda. Oh, geez, wow, that's strong. Oh, you're going to see a big smile on my face. Can you notice there's the memory and there's a pleasant feeling that comes up? Can you notice if you allow your awareness to rest on that pleasant feeling of that memory, enjoying the memory, the pleasantness grows? Don't try to make it grow, but rather just sit back and enjoy that memory. That was a really nice time. If it's a wholesome memory, actually, we can bring up a wholesome memory. Bring up a memory of a time you've been generous and kind. That will give you spiritual Vedana. Allow your awareness to rest on the pleasant feeling of that wholesome memory. Not doing anything, just resting on it. And I know some of you will be getting a very sneaky jhana out of this. I know you will. Notice how the pleasant feeling grows, that your mind begins to absorb into it, using the samadhi you've developed on the retreat. You can open your eyes. So we can notice certain things about Idapaccayata here. Memories carry Vedana. A happy memory has a pleasant Vedana against it. A memory of something that's wholesome or skillful has a spiritual Vedana against it. Sorry for interrupting any jhanas at the time. The spirit, but you can muck around with this later, can't you? You see how easy you go, all this striving mindfulness of breathing, and all you had to do was recall something, you did something that was moral, your morality, to get a spiritual Vedana. That's all you had to do. It's not hard. Generosity gives you access to spiritual Vedana at any time in your life. You just bring it to mind. It's there for the rest of your life. This is why morality brings so much joy. It's blameless, but it also gives access to beautiful, wholesome Vedana, to kusala. What do they say? It's a no-brainer. What type of memory you want to store? Refine your morality. Stock up with spiritual Vedana memories within your mind, and you're more likely to get them triggered in daily life. Quite simple. What do you want to fill your hard drive up with? Yeah. The next one we're going to do is the one where I just ask for people to approach with caution. And if you're not sure, just don't do it. I'm just offering this because there's a number of quite advanced meditators here at the moment. And this is deconditioning. So you guys can just watch us and watch our face go like this when we when we have bad memories. I can't do a bad memory one. What does that look like? How do we do it? I don't know how to do. I'm trying. How do we do a bad memory one? Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to see how memories have an unpleasant feeling to them. Now, we're not going to go for a full-on memory. With skill, you can bring up any memory. Yeah. But the interesting process of this is once we bring up that memory, we'll get two things. We'll get unpleasant feeling coming up on that memory in our mind. And then we'll create the conditions so our body will get an emotion in it, like a reaction, some sort of emotional reaction to that memory, whatever that is associated with that memory. It might be anger or irritation or frustration. You'll get those elemental qualities. So you get kaya, you'll get vedana, the unpleasant feeling, and you've got chitta, the awareness of the mind, getting the coloring off that memory. Yeah. You see the three satipatthanas there? The whole conditional process between them is mindfulness of dharmas, idapaccayata, specific conditionality. You can see it working. Once we feel that Vedana, then what we're going to do is we're going to not to try to get rid of it, but we're going to deeply soften, relax with full softening breaths. Relax and let go completely. If you soften completely against it, the strength of the Vedana, that memory will get less. Your mind will actually lower it through 5 softenings. Then you repeat it again, you soften again, lower it, soften it again, lower it. And it gradually gets lower. But this is why I'm giving a warning. If when that memory comes up, if you react to it or struggle and fight or try to get rid of it, you will make it stronger. And I worked with hundreds of people with this, working with trauma and depression and anxiety with this. And had a large success rate, but for some people it didn't work because they were always struggling and fighting against it. And that's okay. They just weren't quite ready. But all it takes is softening against it, deeply softening, relaxing. So I want you just to let go, just melt into it, yeah? And we'll see what happens. We'll play with it. Okay, so just for those that feel comfortable doing this, just allow your eyelids to close over. We've got to create a foundation of relaxation, a few softening breaths to relax into your body. And as you relax into your body, you can feel your body just sitting here. Your arms and hands resting on your legs, grounded. We're just sitting in the room. We're safe. I'd like you just to bring up a mildly unpleasant feeling. Maybe someone from something that happened in a workplace, or maybe when you were just walking down the street, maybe a recent conflict you had with someone. Just hold that memory very gently in your mind. Now, to see specific conditionality, notice that memory has a different flavor to it, a slightly unpleasant flavor, uneasy feeling to it. Notice any reaction within your body. Maybe your belly tightens, maybe your chest. Know that this can't hurt you. It's just a reflection of your mind. It's just a danger signal in your body. Notice its feeling of unpleasantness, a feeling of unease. That also can't hurt you. That's also just a danger signal. Now, not trying to make this go away, take 5 very deep softening breaths and soften, relax your relationship towards what you're feeling. Let your mind know that right now is safe. Gently breathing into your belly, bring the breath up to the top of your chest, filling you up. Allowing the breath out to let your shoulders drop, your chest, your upper back relax. Breathing in, your body feels lifting you up. Allowing the breath slowly out through your nose, eyelids relax, cheeks, jaw sinking deeper, deeper. Breathing in, body fills, lifting you up. Slowly out through your nose, mentally and physically relaxing. 2 more. Breathing in. And slowly out to relax. 1 more. And in. Completely mentally, physically relax, let go deeper, 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 deeper. Now rest in that relaxation, that letting go, and allow your breathing to return to normal. You're safe. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. And if your eyes open slowly, you know that you're deeply relaxed. But if they open fast, it tells you you weren't relaxed deep enough. Now you ask 3 questions. Now that I have softened, yeah, is the emotional charge in my body, is it stronger? Is it the same, or is it weaker than before I softened? So before I brought that memory up. So you don't bring the memory up now, you just check. Is that emotional feeling, the reaction in your body and the unpleasantness, is it stronger, the same, or weaker? If it's stronger, it means don't do this anymore. That means that you need to go back and really study skills 1 to 4 and really study what does it mean to soften, relax, let go. If you keep going back to memories like this, you will actually make the memory and the unpleasantness of the memory stronger because of the laws of Idapaccayata. Yeah? You'll increase it. If you find that the emotional charge in your body right now is the same as before you softened, it tells us that your softening isn't strong enough. But if you relax, soften, relax deeper on the next go, the Vedana will get weaker. If you find that the emotional reaction in your body is weaker now, and the unpleasantness is weaker, that means your mind has downgraded the feeling on that memory. If we repeat this, so I usually do, say, 5 sets of 5, and generally with most people, it's like, not most people, if someone's receptive to this, 3 sets of 5 softenings, and you'll find you'll be able to hold that painful memory in your mind, and it won't be unpleasant anymore. There'll be no unpleasantness. And this is because that softening against the Vedana without reacting to it, softening, relaxing, letting go deeply, tells your mind that this memory is not as dangerous as it thought. Because what tells your mind that these painful memories are dangerous is you're trying to push it away or you're trying to solve or fix it. And this includes trying to talk it out. It all gives importance to that memory. It tells the mind, this is really important. Bring it up again, please. Yeah. The mind will bring danger to the forefront of your mind again and again. Yeah. But when we soften, relax, and we've seen that, what it does is it tells the mind, this is not important. And the mind actually puts a lower amount of the same Vedana. So the unpleasantness of that memory becomes weaker. I've seen this in myself. If I react to something, the unpleasantness of that memory will become stronger. Have you noticed that? The more you churn it over, the more you react, the stronger that unpleasantness will get. That's the danger signal going up. But when you soften, relax, it gets weaker. So pretty well all my memories from the past I've softened against. You soften, relax them. Now, the gradual removing of that Vedana, you can completely strip all Vedana from a memory quite quickly once you know how to soften, relax. And what that means is that memory is no longer a trigger point for reaction in daily life. Our mind is using our past memories to judge, how am I supposed to react now to this sight, to this sound, to this smell, to this taste, to this experience in the body, to this thought, to this memory. It's using that database and the Vedana attached to those memories. Yeah? This is what causes the causal chains of reaction. When we strip the Vedana, we no longer get the reaction. When we understand how to access spiritual Vedana, plus decondition the other Vedana, then we actually no longer store painful memories. We don't store them anymore. They're just not stored. They're not stored because as soon as that situation comes up, that difficult situation, even if your mind produces an unpleasant feeling then, you soften, relax, let it go, you decondition it then and there. And if you decondition it then and there, the mind does not store that memory as painful and dangerous anymore. Now, what this is experienced as is you can then, once you've softened, you've stripped back the Vedana. Remember, is it stronger? Is it the same? Is it weaker? If it's weaker, keep on going. Yeah? You do 5 softenings against it and see what happens. You'll be able to bring up the memory. And I've seen this with people with trauma. They can actually hold the memory in their mind and there's nothing. Or there's just this subtle little bit of unpleasantness, but there's no reaction whatsoever. But we have to approach this with caution. We have to approach this with wisdom. Yeah. We have to be kind to ourselves when doing these practices. Yeah. When I'm doing it with other people, I'm providing the presence for them. You understand that? I don't wander off. I don't get distracted. I'm providing that presence. But if you're doing it by yourself, you have to provide it yourself. So you need the mindfulness, clear comprehension, and the softening skills. And you can do that. And this is a transformation. But this is Idapaccayata. So we could see how we can understand specific conditionality for accessing spiritual Vedana from memories. And you can increase your spiritual Vedana memories. How? By refining and enjoying, rejoicing in your sila and your morality in daily life, in being kind and gentle, in speech, in action, in deed. Because every time you do something nice in your life like that, not treat yourself to a nice new meal or a nice new hat or something like that. I mean, do something nice, kind, gentle, loving, caring. That memory is stored within your mind and you can access it any time you want. The more of those memories you create, the higher percentage chance it is of one of those nice memories to get triggered rather than one of the painful memories to get triggered. It's like what seeds, what karmic seeds are you planting from the way you think, speak, and act in your life? You're planting seeds, and these seeds sprout Vedana. They sprout Vedana. And the Vedana conditions the whole ongoing of samsara. Every being is reacting to Vedana. Even the plant leans towards the light and away from the shade. Yeah. Yeah. This is what we're learning in the practice, and this becomes very big and beautiful. Once you understand Idapaccayata in terms of things, you understand in terms of jhana, then you can access jhana. In terms of insight, Nitya, Dukkha, Anatta, then your mind will see that easy. In terms of relationships, you'll understand that too. In terms of your body, everything is subject to this. Wonderful. I know it was a longer talk, but we're getting to the end of the retreat. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope that was helpful. And if we can get a group together another time, we might be able to go into that and do deconditioning together, but in a very controlled environment where I can see everyone. Would be nice because I can't see everyone on the screen at the moment. Fantastic. So you're just going to have a short break. If we could have a 5 minute, this is going to be a quicker one. You're just going to have to force it out, a 5 minute toilet break. And then I'm going to be doing a bit of gentle stretching and qigong with anyone who would like to share. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.